Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to show you what I've accomplished this week. I've had a lot of tomatoes getting ripe in my garden. I planted my garden early, so a lot of people planted them a little later and they're not having as great a luck because we went into a drought. But I planted mine on St. Patrick's Day, I think it was. That's when I planted potatoes, so somewhere early. So anyway, I have this many tomatoes that I'm gonna start Monday. I'm taking the weekend off because I canned all week. This is an interesting tomato. It's almost like a pinkish red, and I'm gonna save the seeds from it and grow some more, but it's big tomatoes, but just a little different color. So what I've done this week, I took my handy dandy food processor, processed up my tomatoes so they're more like a sauce texture, but I added jalapenos, I added onions, and so it's a little bit hotter. It would be fine. I mean, you could use it in whatever you wanted, soups or whatever. But this one is a little bit hotter, so I made several quarts of that. I also took and made chili. Years ago, I used to can up my chili. But when you make chili, you have to take into consideration that those beans are gonna cook for an hour and a half because you process them for 90 minutes. So they're gonna cook for 90 minutes. So what you're gonna do is just partially, you're gonna soak them overnight. I think it said from 9 to 18 hours. I just soaked them all day long. And then you take them out and it says to cook them for 30 minutes. And so what I did, then you take your hamburger and you just wanna brown it. You don't wanna totally cook it either because it will process for an hour and a half. So I added my hamburger to the skillet. I fried it up to where it was, you're just getting the grease off of it. Then I drained it, and then I put maybe a third of the thing of beans, a third of the thing of hamburger, just depends on how much hamburger you want it, and then I filled it with sauce, and you have to keep tamping it down to get that all mixed up. The last batch I went ahead and mixed it all up in my roaster pan and cooked it for a little bit, and it went in much easier. But anyway, so I did those. Then I took, here it is. I had quite a bit of pork steak in the freezer that needed to be used up. So I took that pork steak and cut it up in little pieces, cut as much of the fat off of it as you could. Brown it, again, you're just browning it, you're not overly cooking it. And the broth is a chicken broth. And you put that in there. And this, I added taco seasoning to it simply because I want to take it, when I open it, you heat it for I think 10 minutes or something. And then you shred it, and I want to put it on tacos. So it's pork tacos instead of regular tacos. So some of my tomatoes are just tomatoes out of the food processor with salt and pepper. Nothing in it to make it hot. That way, I love to drink tomato juice. And then some of it says hot. And it's got jalapenos in it, onions in it, red pepper seasoning in it. It's stuff to make it hot. So anyway, I've canned all week long. So this weekend, I'm taking it off and going to a friend's house and having a girls' night out. So I'm kind of excited to shut it down. Monday, these will all be ready to roll. This is Saturday. And I'll start doing sauce again. And I could make salsa, but I may make some salsa. We'll just see how many tomatoes. I've got a lot of green tomatoes still left. And so we'll see how ambitious I get. But I also, you know, you can water bath tomatoes, but I'm using the pressure cooker on mine simply because by the time you water bath for 40 minutes and you've got that steam coming up, it's 100 degrees outside. It's heating the house up pretty good. I find myself canning at midnight. But I've decided it's just as quick to do it in the pressure canner, and all that heat stays inside that canner, so you don't have all of that going out into your room like you do if you're just water bathing. And I think you do it for 20 minutes or something. You'd have to look it up. it's about half the time, you know. You do have to add your citric acid and your canning salt to each one. But if you're a canner, you already know that. So it's been a busy week. I'm tired. It's time to go have a party. You all have a great weekend.